order to succeed, we must first believe that we can. Good evening, listeners. Welcome to another episode of The Molar Bear. Today's guest doesn't need much introduction. He was an ex acting dean at GDC Goa, ex president IAOMR 2008, ex executive committee member IAOF in 2017 18, ex president IDA Goa State Branch, ex member DCI General Body representing Goa University in 2008 to 2013, first person to introduce and get approved in DCI General Body curriculum infrastructure for starting MDS diploma certification course in forensic dentistry on 13th May 2012 in Chandigarh. Oof, and many more. So let's call him in the show. The living legend of Indian forensic dentistry, Dr. Ajit Dankar, sir. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good evening. Thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be talking to you, Ganendra, after so many years after our last Denisa meeting in Goa.
Well, sir. How are you, sir, first?
Hey, doing well and fine. Luckily, by the grace of God and blessings from all of you all and good wishes, still free of corona, no nothing. I've finished my vaccinations, keeping hale and hearty, and doing extremely well.
That's great, sir. Sir, the first question which I'll be asking you that how did you land up into dentistry, sir?
That's a big story. Um, I had a senior of mine. During that time we did not have 11th and 12th standard. 11th was up to school level, and then we had first year science, inter science. And I was staying that time in Kalina, Santa Cruz. My father was working with Indian Airlines, and I used to go along with senior of to me in the college, and that was Prakash Joshi. And we used to travel together to Ria College where I studied my first year science, inter science. And when he passed inter science and I came into inter science, I asked him, Mari, what are you doing now? You joined medical? He said, no, I didn't get into medical. I got into dentistry. And I asked him, what is that? Believe me, I did not know what dentistry was at that time. I had never had any toothache, no tooth problems. That time, Kalina was a very small area. Only the Indian Airlines and the Air India Colony were the most famous landmarks, and of course, my school. And there was a practitioner who was our family doctor and never required referring to a dentist. So when he told me dentistry, I asked him what it was all about. And okay, I just kept it in mind. And subsequently, when I passed my 12th, and I too missed my medical admissions by a few marks, and I too got into dentistry. That's how I landed up in dentistry
Oh, that's
at
good to
the
hear, sir.
Government Dental College Hospital, Mumbai.
Well, sir. I would like to know, sir, what was the selection procedure long back that time? Like we have common entrance exam. So, what was the selection criteria that time for MBBS or BDS?
Uh, there was one government dental college, that is the government of Maharashtra's dental college in Mumbai. Plus, there was a Bombay Municipal Corporation run Nair Hospital Dental College also in Mumbai. New Bombay had not come up then; it was not in existence. Whatever colleges are there today, New Bombay Dental or Medical, they were not there, obviously. So these two dental colleges were there, and there were two, three medical colleges, notably the Grand Medical College, the Nair Hospital Medical College, or the Tokiwala National Medical College, TNMC as it is called, and the one at Parel.
Hmm.
So the entrance for all of these was your 12th standard marks. That's it. There was no common entrance exam, nothing. So people from all over Maharashtra, at residence requirement was there. So people from all over Maharashtra could apply to any of these colleges. In addition, I think the Nair Hospital Dental College also required you to be a resident of Mumbai. But
Hmm.
otherwise, anybody else could also apply.
Hmm.
And I had a choice that time of getting into Nair Hospital or getting into Government Dental College. And upon the advice of my senior, Dr. Prakash Joshi, who was my senior also in 1 year at the Government Dental College, he said, don't join Topiwala Nair Hospital Dental College. It's too damn a strict college. You come to Government Dental College, you have a good life. And that's how I chose Government Dental College over Nair Hospital Dental College. So the criteria were plain and simple. You have to just apply to the authorities. There's a single mode of application, and you have to apply on that particular mode, and you'll be considered as per your 12th standard mark list. That's all.
Okay, sir. So, sir, you have done your BDS in 1977 and MDS in 1984, both from Government
Right,
Dental College and Hospital Mumbai.
right.
So, sir, can you please enlighten us about the scenario that time of dentistry? I mean, how popular was dentistry that time? What was the subject order? What were the subject which you studied and all that?
Yeah, the first year, second year, third year were the same subject like what we are studying now, except that I think now the change is they've brought dental anatomy to the first year, and they've taken dental materials to the second year, I believe,
Yes,
which
sir.
was
Yes,
not the
sir. You
case
are
with
right.
us. We had anatomy, physiology, and dental materials in the first year. In second year, it was pharmacology, pathology, microbiology as one subject, and uh, dental anatomy.
Mhm.
Then in third year, it was general medicine, general surgery, and oral path, as it is even now. There were, of course, no preclinical exams and all that to enter into the clinics between second and third year. That
Okay.
came about much, much later. I don't know whether all the colleges are adopting it or not, but a number of colleges have adopted, including Goa Dental College. And then in final year, those days, conservative dentistry was, the term for conservative dentistry was operative dentistry. But
Mhm.
otherwise, the subject sequences remained the same, except that there was no subject of community. So
Okay.
we had 4 P's and 3 O's: prosthetics, periodontia, periodontia, and then there was oral surgery, oral medicine, radiology. It was oral medicine, diagnosis, and radiology,
Mhm.
and orthodontia, and operative dentistry. So 4 O's and 3 P's form the 7 subjects.
That's great, sir. The things have changed a lot since then, I guess. Sir, can you please just enlighten us about the scenario of that time? I mean, long back in 1977. What was the scenario of dentistry as a profession that time?
Yeah. I missed on that part. The scene was pretty glum, I would say, pretty grim. By the time we reached final years, our seniors had already drilled into our heads. BDS is not Bachelor of Dental Surgery. It is Battis Datas Ka Satyanash. Because banks were not giving loans easily to set up your clinic. They would require at least 50% from your side. So utna paisa डालते हैं, so you could have even started your own hotel or a small pan thela, in that much amount.
Yeah.
So setting up a private practice was very difficult because of poor finance availability from banks. Then jobs were practically non-existent. Even at that point of time, keeping all these things in mind, the Government Health College Students Association that we had was very, very proactive, and we had a number of strikes to demand a lot of things, like, for example, creating of a dentist post in every primary health center. And to some extent, all these things have been met. We even demanded for a higher pay for the interns that were working, and giving up of free instruments to the students, because we were working on the patients. The patients were benefiting at large. And there were a number of people actually. Government Dental College Mumbai catered to the Shivaji University, Pune University, Marathwada University, besides, of course, the Bombay University. So there were people from all sorts of walks of life, particularly those from the poor economic classes or very backward thing. In fact, one of my classmates was a person who used to tend cows during his 10th, 11th, and 12th. So you
Mhm.
can see the type of background people used to come. And it was not always affordable for people who would come to Bombay to suddenly find this kind of finances to buy high-end equipment.
Mhm.
So those demands were met, and to the college and the dean, the beauty was that our teachers in Government College Mumbai, they were very, very noble people, and they realized the demands being raised by the student association were very genuine. And they would themselves take up these matters with the government, and a lot of facilities were then being provided to. Now, the equipment, instruments were provided at least to the economically weaker sections of the student community, and it went about well. But although this particular thing about Bhakti Siddharthanga Satyanas was being drilled, as we did our graduation and our internship and started with post-graduation, more hopes were generated, and we were confident that definitely we would be able to do much better in life. And probably we would be better placed than the medical professionals also.
Oh, great, sir. I hope you won't mind if I ask you a question, sir. What was your stipend that time in government dental college?
Oh my goodness, you're putting me to shame. Uh, we used to get a stipend of 400 rupees.
Oh my God, it's
Uh,
it's
That
pretty
was
good.
in 1977, 78. It was just 400 rupees.
Okay.
You could check our salary bills if they have still maintained those records.
Okay.
But then 400 rupees had a lot of value at that time. Unlike
Hmm.
today,
Yeah.
if you try to buy talk time of for your mobile, you will end up paying 400 rupees and nothing else you would get. So 400 rupees was quite enough for us to survive on for the entire month without having to borrow anything from our parents.
Mm-hmm. So, sir, there is such a good and an motivating story behind your BDS. How did you get into BDS, sir? Can you just tell us your story of your MDS? Why did you go for oral medicine and radiology? What is the story behind that, sir?
The story behind that was, in third year,
Mm-hmm.
I had thought that I had not fared very well in oral pathology, and I was quite depressed in the theory part after because the questions were quite unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to stay in the hostel. And my my house was about an hour's train journey from VT, where the college is. I was staying at Dombivli at by that time when my father had retired.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I'm going to go home and tell my parents I don't know whether I'm going to do well or not in oral path. And my colleague, a room partner in the hostel, kept on insisting, now you don't waste your time going back there home and wasting 1 hour and to go and 1 hour to come back. When will you study for tomorrow's general medicine exam? I told him, I know general medicine. At that time, we used to refer Davidson. I know the entire Davidson pit pat. Whatever you want, you can ask me. Anything, anywhere, from any system to the other system, I can take you up. And similarly, I was very good with my physiology in first year. So if the external examiner did ask some questions, I could answer him and then, release some answers relating to a particular system. And then he would go on to that particular system. Then I would take him to the nervous system. Then I would take him to the endocrine system. And I was so good with all of those.
Mm-hmm.
So here I said, I'm going home, and I did go home. When I came in final, of course, I passed my oral path with good marks. They were above 60%, and I was expecting actually to do much better.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came in final year, naturally, medicine was something which I loved because my physiology, oral pathology, general medicine were very good. And that crave for looking at the entire body and being able to diagnose things was high up on my priority. The other specialties, of course, are also equally good. There is no specialty which is lower than any other specialty. But I would still somehow feel that, well, in the other specialties, it's more of a carpentry work. Whereas in oral medicine, you require a little bit added brains to be able to remember so many conditions and to be able to diagnose cases. That's how I took up oral medicine.
Okay, sir, that's great. That's a good story behind that. Let me tell you guys, Ajit Dhankar sir has published and established the first forensic dentistry department in a government college in our country and second among the private and government colleges at GDC Goa, the department with highest number of MLC case. Well, sir, MLC sounds interesting. Please, can you explain the term MLC for our listeners since most of them are unaware of the term MLC?
Yeah, MLC is medico-legal cases. So whatever cases come up which are examined by a medical personnel or a dental personnel, and those cases are registered as police complaints, and they come up in the court. So they are all referred to as medico-legal cases. So it could be anything from a rape case to a gender estimation to age estimation or even negligence in dental practice, and someone files a claim against a particular dentist. So those things also come under all medical legal cases.
Well, sir, I guess you and Sherlock Holmes do the same work. By the way, sir, how did you develop interest into this unconventional field of forensic dentistry?
That again, when I was doing my post graduation, although I was registered with uh, Professor, he was a visiting professor and he used to come thrice in a week, but Dr. Merchant. But the professor who was the regular person and HOD in the department was Dr. A.B. Surveyor, Aspi Surveyor. May God grant their souls eternal peace in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dr. Surveyor had some problem with his maid because someone in that building had filed a complaint that that maid is a minor and that surveyor has employed a minor. So he was going to court very often, and then he thought that it might be a good idea to prove on dental records that she is above 18 and above 14, and she could be employed for work. So he started giving a number of students the choices to work on this particular topic about age estimation from the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And those days, not many people were interested, and they took up various other topics. But somehow I found it very enticing, and I took up this topic. So my MDS thesis topic was on the age estimation based on status of calcification of mandibular first premolar, mandibular second premolar, and mandibular second molar.
Okay.
So P1, P2, and M2, these teeth I had studied, and based on these teeth status of calcification,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to get a very accurate estimate of the age. And you'll be surprised to know that you use my formulae, you will find that you are able to get the age estimation to plus or minus 6 months in 2 SD, that is 2 standard deviation of cases,
Mm-hmm.
and up to maximum 1 year difference would be there if you take 100% of the cases.
Mm-hmm.
And incidentally, I may tell you now that I'm also been guiding a PhD thesis right now
Mm-hmm.
for a professor who is working in Gurgaon.
Mm-hmm.
And she has also completed most of her calculations and observations. And just today afternoon, I received a call from her saying that the correlation of the chronologic age of the patient and the chronologic age that we have found using my formulae
Mm-hmm.
for the age estimation from teeth have a very high correlation and quite accurate.
And that's
So
great,
that was
sir.
the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And subsequently, when I started working in Goa Dental College, we used to get some cases here and there, and then that was about not on a regular basis. Incidentally, there was a week-long course at Manipal,
Mm-hmm.
KMC Manipal, and I had gone there to attend out of interest because it was being conducted by Dr. David Brown, Professor Dr. David Brown of Adelaide University in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And along with me, there was the professor and the assistant professor and another lecturer from the forensic medicine department of Goa Medical College who had come.
Mm-hmm.
Incidentally, Dr. Brown had collected actual case records of aeroplane accidents. So there were bones, there were teeth, there were radiographs, and so many other things that were there that were exhibited. And he would ask us to identify the age or the gender, etc. Now, gender estimation, of course, we could do very easily because so many bone characters would be there. Now, when we went about doing the exercise it was a hands-on course, so when we went about doing the exercise on age estimation, everybody was stunned, that how I could finish off my age estimation so fast. It would not take me 2 minutes to look at a case and decide the age, and 100% again accuracy.
That's great.
So that accuracy made this forensic medicine professor and the assistant professor think that it will be a good thing if they incorporate me in their regular MLC cases.
Mm-hmm.
So from that time onwards, we started getting a lot of reference cases from the forensic medicine department. And it's thanks to the excellent cooperation between my department and the forensic medicine department. It was that time headed by Dr. Reddy, who's from Hyderabad. And there was one Dr. Uzgaonkar, who after retirement from Goa went on to Karad. And later on, there was all the other professors that came also. We had excellent coordination with them, and Large number of cases used to come from them. And then the name got so widely, getting a good, what you could say, a good reputation for it, that we started getting references from the government, like, for example, the Mapsa, which is a city about 22 kilometers from Panjim city, the capital.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mapsa Municipal Corporation once sent us uh, 8, 10 people saying that these people are lazy, they're not working. They are the Mapsa Municipal Corporation thinks that they are overaged and they have forged their ages and they have altered their birth dates. So please opine whether they are above 58 or no. These are quite humorous things to do. Like government
Yeah.
servants, they are used to lazing around. And at least we had somebody from the municipal corporation thinking that they should be made to work. So
Mm-hmm.
we went about seriously and we did, of course, give them their ages. Then there were a lot of police cases that were directly referred to us,
Okay.
where dental evidence was the most important. Bite marks, rape cases, okay?
Okay.
So as these cases started coming, we happened to be, when we did inaugurate our department, although we were doing these cases for the last almost 20, 25 years, somewhere around 2015 or 16, I think we inaugurated the particular section in our department for which the health secretary and the chief secretary had all come. And the director of health services also was there, besides the deans of the medical and the dental colleges. At that point of time, we had an exhibition wherein we had laid out all the forensic dentistry related pieces that we had guided, then photographs of all the cases, the equipment and instruments that we had used. So many of those things were exhibited, and it was a very proud moment in my career, I would say.
Okay. And that's great to listen that, sir. Sir, as I have heard something, a term which is Dinkar Lip Index number. If I'm not wrong, that is named after you, sir. Can you please elaborate it a bit for us? What is this Dinkar Lip
Hey, but
Index?
where did you hear this, man? I'm quite surprised that it has come to you, Robert. How did
Uh,
you hear about it?
Actually, I was going through your profile and did some research about you. So I got to know that there is something called as the Dinkar Lip Index number, which is named after you, sir. I guess it's your thesis or your article, I guess. So please, can you elaborate that for
Yeah,
us? Mhm.
yeah. See, this particular thesis on the lip prints was done by one of my PGs, Dr. Rachana Acharya, who is now at Yanapura. She's at 400. And in all of those cases, they would always claim that the lip print of that particular 300 sample size or 2000 sample size or 400 or whatever it was were unique. And there was nobody who showed the same sign.
Mhm.
But there was no way the different samples from different people could have been combined and it could have been said that all the samples, the 300, the 400 plus 2000 plus whatever else other reference articles were there, if you combine all those uh, samples and then see whether they are unique or not, it was very difficult to go about doing it.
Okay.
And suddenly one day, while tinkering on my computer with Microsoft Excel, I just thought that why not we represent the lip print pattern as a digital number, as a unique number.
Yeah.
So we went about doing that, and then we were also at that point of time collaborating with the MS Ramaya School of Imaging Sciences in Bangalore,
Mm-hmm.
and they were working on making a software whereby if you had to take a lip print and give them, they would get the computer to analyze the lip print, and the computer would color code it also and give the sequencing of the lip prints. I'm sure most of you all would be aware of the various lines that are seen on the lip prints. Like
Yeah.
if it's a simple straight line completely across the lip, it is called as one. If it is a line which doesn't extend across the entire lip, it is one dash. Then if it's got a Y-shaped thing, it's two, and so on and so forth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Now, in all these cases, we have seen that whether you take photographs or you take actual lip prints by a roller or by any other mechanism, you are recording the lip print by applying lipstick and then transferring it onto a paper or photographing that
Mm-hmm.
or directly photographing the lips itself. Generally, about 1 to 1.5 centimeters from the midline would be the area where the lip prints would be absolutely clear.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought thought we'll concentrate on the first 15 lines.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the central line, which is the most sharpest, we gave it an arbitrary, since we were taking up 50 lines, we arbitrarily gave it a weighted value as 15. The
Mm-hmm.
second line, gave it a weighted value of 14. The third line, we gave it a weighted value of 13. So on and so forth. Till the 15th line, the weighted value was just 1. Okay?
Okay.
And now, if the first line was type 1, you would multiply 15 by 1, you will get 15.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose the second line was type 3. So 14 multiplied by 3 is 42.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose the third line was a type 4.
Mm-hmm.
So the third line would have been 13. So 13 multiplied by 4, 13 for the 52. So we would add up these particular things and derive a score for it.
Okay.
Now, these particular scores we derived for the left quadrant, for the right quadrant, for the upper lip, for the lower lip, and they were categorized as Dinker's lip index.
Okay, sir. So that was a
So,
Dinker lip index system.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the sum total of each of them would be called as Dinker's lip index. And this now enables you to compare any sample with any other sample. You
Mhm.
don't need that sample. Anybody can utilize this and find out what is their numbers coming. And all numbers come unique. Even if sometimes there are some patients who may show the same total value of upper, lower, right, left quadrants of the lips.
Mhm.
But then when you look out at the individual quadrants, there are differences. And that's how one is able to establish the uniqueness of the particular lip tint.
Okay.
And this is a method whereby you can easily compare because all numbers are unique. When I mean 1 or when I mean 2 or 3, you can't understand that I'm talking about 5, 6 or 7. 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3. So similarly, this particular lip index, since they were based on numeric values, they were all unique.
Mhm.
And you could establish the uniqueness of these particular lip prints by using this Dinker's lip index.
Okay, sir. I don't think that day is far that in biometrics will be using this also. Your lip print and the algorithm will be based on your Dinker's lip index number. Right, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sir, coming again to your investigation MLCs. So, what type of MLC investigation did you conduct during your working tenure? Once the one you told me that municipal corporation had approached you, any sort of criminal MLC investigation which you conducted, which you
Yeah,
would like to
yeah,
share, a memorable one?
yeah, yeah. To begin with, right in the beginning, there was one case of a girl of Arab father and an Indian mother who was kidnapped, and then she was forcibly got married to somebody who had kidnapped her, and we had to estimate the age. And there was a lot of differences that the medical college presented because they would base their age estimation on the bones. So if they took the Indian standards, the bones actually then showed it to be of very high age. If they took the Arab standards, then they showed it to be of very low age because she was part Arabian and part Indian. So the two combinations did not work. And then incidentally, we were called into the picture. And since teeth are the least variable in any population, by our particular methods, we were able to estimate her age, and we presented the case in the court, and we were complimented for that particular accurate estimation of the age, which tallied with her school records as well. Of course, the school records we did not know in advance, but it tallied with the school records and her other records. That was one case. Then probably you have also heard about a couple of years back, there was a case of a murder. Not this particular lady, I don't want to name her. This particular lady was a famous perfumist. I mean, she would manufacture perfumes and sell them across. And she was the only lady entrepreneur who was working with perfumes. Now, this lady was staying in Porvorim. She was staying in a colony. And one day her umbrella was missing, and she thought that it was a watchman who had stolen that umbrella. So she complained against the watchman, and the society of that particular colony immediately threw this watchman out. Now, this watchman was quite furious that he was made to lose his job. So he plotted to, teach her a lesson, as we may say. He therefore took his time off, and then one day kept track of her timings out, coming and going. And then finally, when he thought it was convenient, he went and stayed up on the terrace. And then when she came back, he entered her room and then stole her SIM cards, ATM cards, and raped her. And then she was also a little bit of a flirty type. So she was the one who would, like a masochistic experience. So he tried to do that. And we are told that she incidentally enjoyed being, choked and having sex. So this fellow did that and didn't realize that he had in fact choked her to death. And then he made some omelette for himself and then walked away. And after some time he saw that, she's dead. And then he panicked. He ran off with his car, went to Mangalore from Goa. And then he was traced because of the usage of that ATM card. So when he was brought over here, we identified the bite marks on the dead body to be that caused by this particular watchman. So that was a very famous case that had happened. Then a similar murder case did take place in South Goa, which also we identified. And the best case that we came across was wherein we were given a skull. Yeah? We were given a skull and we were told to identify the age of that skull and the male or female and see whether we could come up with an approximate look for that particular person. So that was the first time we did even some face recognition.
Mhm.
So my PG students at that time were Dr. Saurabh Bandodkar, who is practicing in Goa, and Dr. Aniket Vaidya, who is working in the Goa Dental College now. So these people and I, three of us, we went actually to the Goa College of Fine Arts and we studied how to carve a face, and we brought some wax and some facial carving knives and all that, and we made a face for it. And we, of course, age estimation from the skull and the teeth, and the gender estimation was a simple job for us. We did that. But the best part was that when we built up the face using the wax strings and providing the eye and providing the hair and all, and we tried to tally it with the photographs that were, the police tried to tally the photographs that they had of the missing people in that area. They found an absolutely good likeness between what we had carved on the skull, and that person could be traced to his native village in Karwar,
Okay.
that is in Karnataka.
Mhm.
So these were quite a such number of cases that came to us, and the number of cases that we used to every year deal with for sports persons. Whenever there's some sports event being organized, the hockey teams, the football team, the swimming teams, the boxing teams, crowds of them, hundreds and hundreds of them would be coming for whom we would do the age estimation.
Mhm.
And in fact, sometimes it was not possible because our OPG machine was down. We would go down there to the stadium directly and, in fact, do on clinical estimation also.
Mhm.
So these things, my PG students over here in Goa are very well trained in forensic. They can do beautiful age estimation, person identification, then they can do disaster victim identification very well. So they are quite adept because we got all these kind of cases.
Hmm. Well, sir, your job seems to be very fascinating, and I'm also very much fascinated about forensic dentistry. So, sir, please, can you tell us what are the courses available in India for forensic dentistry? I mean, what are the courses? What is the tenure of the courses? What are the subject included in that forensic dentistry? So, please.
Yeah. The best course to do is, I would suggest doing it at the Gujarat Forensic Science University in Ahmedabad. What is that? Gandhinagar. It's
Mhm.
very close to Ahmedabad,
Yeah.
the capital city.
Mm.
So that is the best institute to do it. There are also forensic science courses available in Mumbai. But then these are general forensic courses, not exclusively forensic dentistry courses. Then again, the Indian Dental Association had started with some courses, and they used to conduct it as online courses and then with a short exposure for 1 or 2 weeks. And they were also quite good courses, and I think Dr. Ashit Acharya used to conduct them at one of the colleges in Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, plus in his own college at Dharwad, the SDM college in Dharwad. But if you ask me, that there is nowhere at present any forensic dentistry postgraduate degree course available in India. Because although the curriculum and everything was approved way back in 2012, somehow the DCI has not taken it up in all earnestness and started those courses. Probably they may still be fearing that when dentistry is at loggerheads with jobs, etc., how will forensic dentists fit? But as you know, that in America and other places, they have a geographic practice. That is, if a particular medical legal case comes up in a particular area, then the forensic dentist in that area would automatically be brought into the picture. So it is not that you are out of cases to deal with. But then the DCI needs to take this step, and if not a full-fledged degree, NBS degree course, at least they should start a diploma of 2 years or a certificate course in 1 year.
Yeah.
Then, of course, if you're planning to go abroad, I would suggest Adelaide as one of the best places, University of Adelaide in Australia, or BORD, that is the Bureau of Legal Dentistry in Toronto, and a number of colleges in UK or USA, like Glasgow University, and there are so many of them in USA as well, which have a forensic dentistry course.
Okay, sir.
But the future of forensic dentistry in India is quite bright, in a sense that you do get a lot of cases. That is what my experience is. But basically, you need to associate yourself with a good forensic medicine department also, because that is from where your initial references are going to come. So having good relations with the forensic medicine department, showing them your skills, putting up, showing them meeting or giving a talk in the forensic medicine conclave. Like I was invited to give a talk at the Forensic Medicon, which was held in Goa and also in Mangalore. So my contacts with the forensic medicine department and my work for them enthused them to call me as a guest speaker for their Silver Jubilee Forensic Medicine Conference in Goa. So this kind of activities helps you to project your capabilities. And projecting your capabilities, you are able to achieve a lot.
Okay, sir. I guess in India there is an fellowship course which is going on right now in DY Patil University, which provide us a degree of fellowship in forensic odontology. I guess, sir.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. That
yeah,
fellowship is basically a very short-term courses.
yeah.
They are now DCI does not recognize any of these.
Okay.
Does not actually. If you see the DCI things, none of these courses are recognized except maybe the one at the Forensic Science University in Gandhinagar.
Mhm.
None of them are actually recognized by the DCI. But then this is something which the DCI is always slowly working. It has its own conflict. It has its own problems in dealing with issues, and it's pretty slow in its working. But
Mhm.
after having passed these things 9 years back, way back in 2012, I see no reason why they should not come out, and at least such colleges which already have a oral medicine postgraduate course running or an oral pathology postgraduate course running, why they should not actively promote forensic dentistry in such colleges. Initially, maybe both oral path and oral medicine combinedly carry out the teaching, and in due course of time, when you have your own forensic graduates, they could take up the teaching and they could replace the oral medicine or the oral pathology staff in their own department.
Well, sir. I hope that's it. According, by the mean of this podcast, your message reaches there also, and they to think about it. They to get to know about it. What you told us, your personal experiences about the forensic dentistry. So, sir, most important thing: what are the career options available in India after doing forensic dentistry, or in abroad, if any?
Abroad, there are a lot of opportunities because it's a well-recognized specialty.
Hmm.
And if you have enough publications, you have enough cases, then you just need to answer the qualifying exams and you're in. And you are getting into a very good position.
Hmm.
But in India, the job opportunities for a forensic odontologist are still very grim unless the colleges start their own forensic dentistry courses or the government actively employs forensic odontologists, at least in the medical colleges that are there in the particular state, so that along with the forensic medicine, they always include a forensic odontologist also. Remember, the oral medicine specialty, the forensic odontology specialty, these specialties need to market themselves more with the medical personnel than with the dental personnel. Only then there would be a lot of job opportunities available.
Great, sir. Coming towards the end of the show, sir, uh, I'll ask you one last question. That since the dentistry is losing its charms and people take dentistry as the second option, what would you suggest our youngsters and our budding dentists to motivate them?
See, uh, saying that dentistry is losing its charm is not really very correct. You look at the engineering profession. Every 2, 3 years, you find that maybe the IT personnel, there are no jobs and they are working in what do you call as call centers, or there are no jobs available for mechanical engineers or no job for civil engineers. The entire civil or construction business has come to a standstill. But then again, after 3 or 4 years, there's a rise in demand for those particular specialties. And same thing I think with dentistry. Maybe because of the COVID situation and the harsh conditions and the fear of dealing with COVID, unknown COVID cases who may walk into your clinic, and expenses required to make your clinic COVID compliant. So these issues may be there, but it doesn't mean that dentistry is losing charm. See, the charm is lost when you lose faith in yourself and when you lose faith in your own competence. So if you are competent, there is always going to be place for you. If people are going to continue with having teeth, not that suddenly after COVID-19 or immediately everyone is going to be born edentulous and going to remain edentulous all their life. So if teeth are there, just like the other body parts, the teeth are going to get decayed and the services of a dental surgeon are going to be required. It only needs good patience, the ability to wait out patients without losing hope, and continuing to show your good work, recording it, photographing it, and marketing your services. That's very important. There's nothing like dentistry has no charm remaining. I don't think that's true. Maybe the high cost, like when we were just graduates, the high cost of setting up a clinic and all those things were deterrents. But then over the course of time, things have changed. Now again, we are in a difficult situation. I think these times also would change.
Yes, sir. That was also. Thank you, sir, for making time for us from your busy schedule. And indeed, this way, a very insightful session. Hope our listeners,
Ah,
hope our
one
listeners,
second. Could I just remind you of another case that we had,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
wherein there
sure,
were
sure,
two.
sure, sure.
Yeah, it was a very interesting case. Why I suddenly thought of that case was, it was something unique that we had done.
Mhm.
There were these two friends, and they were drinking around. I mean, liquor is quite cheap in Goa, so they were drinking out. And suddenly there was an argument. And I mean, one was a fat fellow, and one was a very thin. You could call them Laurel and Hardy. Okay.
Yes, sir. Huh.
Now this thin fellow suddenly gets up and bangs this fat fellow,
Mhm.
and that fat fellow eventually dies.
Mhm.
And in that, whatever he hit him with, he also causes fracture of his maxilla.
Mhm.
And then there was some biting and scratching and all that also was there. So when the case was brought to us, of course, we could identify that there were bite marks on the dead body, on the cheek, both the cheeks and the nose, and the fracture was there. Now, we wanted to confirm the case, so we took his impressions, and we had to, after pouring the models, we had to fracture that plaster model, realign the teeth so that we could record his bite marks of the dead body and compare it with the bite marks on that thin person's cheeks.
Mhm.
And that was a very unique case. I mean, I went through a lot of reports in the literature, and I have not come across where this kind of an activity was done, wherein they had to fracture the plaster models to get an accurate bite mark being made so as to be able to compare. So, I mean, this was suddenly I just thought of that case that had come to my mind. There were many more other such interesting cases. So forensic dentistry is very, very interesting. Only you need to be dedicated and work well with it.
Well, sir. As you told it correct, it's very interesting. I think I can talk to you about this for whole day, and that would also not be enough. So that was also, thank you so for making your time for us from your busy schedule, and indeed this way a very insightful session. Hope our listeners find this useful and inspiring, and they go further. They find charm in dentistry, as you said that it is just a phase and it will just pass on. Thank you very much, sir. Good night,
Right,
sir.
right. Yeah. Good night. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye bye, sir. That was all in today's episode of Molar Bear. Do like, share, and subscribe our Instagram page, The Molar Bear.